So today is International Human Rights Day, and we are asserting that housing is a human right, and we have the right to housing, especially vacant housing that we paid for.
What time is it? What time is it? What time is it?
We're going downtown. Now, folks have done protests downtown before, from what they gave us orientation, but they haven't tried to do any occupations downtown. So this will be somewhat of a learning experience and an escalation for all involved.
We got sold out. We got sold out.
Because we are going to be soldiers today on the forefront for our people.
The people united will never be defeated. 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 The people united. Everybody out here scratching and hollering.
We don't remember. Where's Lamar?
Proud of you, my brother.
And it is immoral to have these empty units here while human beings need housing.
All right. Public money should be for public good. That means we want our money back for housing. We want our money back for jobs. We want land that's controlled by the community and is good for the community. And we want these condos back too.
Whose city?
Our city.
Whose city?
Our city.
We have the right to this city.
We have the right to this city.
Yeah, power you out here.
Yeah.
The Workers' Center out here. Yeah, Jobs with Justice out here.
What I believe in too, because we do have the equal right for our homes and for our families and for our jobs.
By being out here today, we are developing a new model for how we take back human rights. For too long, we have gone to the government, suggesting to the government it has certain things to do to give us our rights. And for too long, we have been ignored. But today we are saying we understand what we have to do for our rights. And what is that? We have to fight for our rights. Some people wonder, well, why do you have to engage in civil disobedience? Isn't that illegal? And we say, my friends, if they use the law to entrench privilege, if they use the law to batter the oppressed, if they use the law to keep us down, we say later for the law. Our responsibility, my friends, is to stand up for justice. Our responsibility is to advance the struggles of everyone who loves freedom. And today, by you being out here today, by us being here to take back the land, to demand our rights to the city, we're saying to everyone around the country and around the world, we're here to stay, and we're here to struggle, and we're going to be here, and we're going to win. Whose land? Whose land? Whose land?
Oh, snap, it's time to take our land back. Oh, snap, it's time to take our land back. Oh, snap, it's time to take our land back.
Oh, snap, it's time to take our
Willie J. R. Fleming, Coalition to Protect Public Housing, Chicago Independent Human Rights Council.
All right, this is Indesha Juakali from Survivors Village in New Orleans.
I'm Kali Akuno. I'm the Director of Education, Training, and Field Operations for the U.S. Human Rights Network.
My name is Max Rameau. I'm with a group called Take Back the Land Miami. We think that housing is a human right.
And I'm here as part of the National Take Back the Land initiative.
My name is Ajamu Baraka. I am the Director of the U.S. Human Rights Network here in Miami, Florida for the first membership meeting.
In figuring out how to not only talk the talk of building human rights social movement, but actually more effectively walk the walk with one another.
Since the beginning of any resistance or struggle, from Marcus Garvey to Malcolm X to movements in Latin America, human rights is not a new concept. We can understand this human rights mechanism, and we need to sort of take back human rights. because human rights is really about people being at the center of a movement. Human rights is about dignity.
Next year marks the 50th anniversary of the forming of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, one of the most important organizations to emerge out of the Black Freedom Movement. SNCC also sparked a wide range of other social movements in this country. We believe we must have a movement that is radically democratic and led by those most affected by the issue.
We have hundreds of organizations speaking for and to the oppressed of this country, yet very few that stand with and consistently work with oppressed and marginalized people to empower us to think, speak, and act for ourselves. So everybody in this room is an organizer. Everybody in here is an organizer. And we want you, in the spirit of Miss Baker, to think about who your people are.
And what the TLC model is, T is for talk, and L is for listen, and C is for confidential.
I think one thing is we have to listen to our membership, not just looking at it, but being inspired and growing and pushing forward, using it, recognizing their power and using it.
So it's not just like one narrow strategy. So we could use some help from the network to help us think about our place.
Miami is a city where 75% of the folks here speak a language other than English at home. Miami represents a city that has a huge discrepancy around rich and poor, right? So you have Oprah Winfrey with a house that's less than 2 miles from the poorest community in the state of Florida.
We create human rights through struggle. So they can serve as a foundation, but they can't and they won't limit us. They're not going to define the limits of our humanity. So as we've been building this movement now, we're at a point now where basically we have the critical mass, I believe, to begin to really define the progressive character of this movement.
I mean, I think a lot of us feel that human rights is kind of a unifying notion for a pretty fragmented movement that we have. I think it's had growing recognition, but I think that even in terms of investment, for example, of foundations and messaging, that it's geared towards advocacy at a really broad level.
In my mind, one of the things is like the network could be us. And I think for this weekend, sort of my goal is to make the network part of me, sort of committing to it in a certain significant way.
When we talk and engage with institutions, we need to broaden that conversation.
The network can be helpful by uniting against national movements that exist.
Is the network's role thinking about how do we help support the grassroots organizations and really sort of looking inward?
It takes a lot of work and it's communications work, but that's one thing that would be helpful to bring people in. There should be a front door.
And the challenge of us as a movement to learn how to be leaner and meaner. And to me that has a lot to do with us thinking about how do we in fact cooperate, collaborate, and in some ways mesh.
The two things, I think the main things that came up was that a recognition that the human rights framework can really be a unifying tool for a fragmented movement, but that the work of the Human Rights Network to really be able to take that framework into the work that's happening on the ground has to be much more resource identified and driven down deeper. And then number two is being able to, for the network to be able to kind of collect, communicate, and coordinate the different existing movements and parts of the movements that are out there, both nationally and internationally.